Minutes of recording left. That can't be right. I gotta go in and delete some past recordings, I guess. I know. Okay. So, here's what's up, and this is why your homework is what it is. And it actually is that. So, for those of you that really fill in your plan book, which should be all of us, you can really put like study / actually practice. And I didn't know exactly how the conversation this morning was going to go, and it's kind of interesting that it went the way it did, and we kind of had that, like, we all need to buckle down and, like, I don't know, get ourselves where we need to be or whatnot. You guys got to be honest with yourself, right? What it really comes down to for your success is be honest with your abilities, your speed, but more so, like, your effort, your engagement. So, there are some of us in this class that are rocking it. And if so, like, keep it up. Like, if that's you, keep it going. But there are some of us in here that have been choosing not to write down assignments appropriately, have been choosing not to do homework for, like, a week or two, and then trying to catch up, and that doesn't work very well. Or have just been, like, getting the homework done to get it done. And, like, regardless of your intelligence level, like, that's middle school behavior. I'm not, like, surprised by that. But we need to fix it, right? Because this is not helpful middle school behavior. As some of you look through your test, you're going to realize, like, oh, man, I didn't know that like I maybe thought I did. Or maybe I thought I didn't know it, and, yeah, I didn't know it. And actually, a couple of you, I think, thought you didn't know what you were doing and then actually did. Like, you did it right. So everyone needs a blank sheet of graph paper out right now. If you don't have one, there's a bunch in the drawer right here. I think the stack over there is empty, but you could grab a stack from here if you want and take it over there. Yeah.
I'm a little confused because you like made an X and then you crossed out the X. So is that like a fine or not?
You're probably fine. I probably thought it was wrong and then I found something else and realized like you actually had it right.
Okay then.
I need you listening right now, and I'm scared because a lot of the issues we've been having are listening issues. How this test is gonna work, or the revisions to this, or whatever, you going from progressing mastery, and you should still have this out. There's no embarrassment in this room. We're all at different levels of like progressing. Really, if we're honest with ourselves, we're all going to be progressing all year. As soon as you master something, we move on, and all of a sudden you're progressing at it again, because it's new stuff again. Like, every time we take a test, great, you mastered that, but then we move on, and immediately you're progressing again. Right? That's life. I just told the last class, I am progressing at cutting down trees. I hit my neighbor's house. Not bad, it bent his gutter. Luckily, I was able to fix it. But I'm progressing. I don't think I would give myself a mastery. As the tree fell, a branch just was sticking out. I was like, gutter! And it just bent his gutter.
I didn't know that you did that.
I'm taking you with me.
That's my house. That's where I live. That brick front. Yeah, that was. Look between my house and my neighbor's house, and there's just a ton of wood. And now I've taken down 2 sections of my fence, and the stumps are being ground out. But I'm progressing at that, right? I would probably say that I'm mastered at changing oil in a car. I have changed oil in my car many times, other people's cars many times. Like, I've changed the oil in a vehicle a lot of times. I could probably do it blindfolded. But I don't think I can cut down trees every day and have it go well, because it didn't even go well the other day. It went okay. It went fine. So, be honest with yourself. If you're not there yet, it's okay. You got to put in some more effort. So, we're going to go over this for the next however long I have, like 20, 25 minutes. And then, if you need more time, because I doubt we're going to get through the whole thing, if you need more time to finish this, you can keep it. It's kind of like yours as homework now. But eventually, you need to give me this back with an assessment of how you think you were then. Not really like how you are now, but when you took this assessment, your past self, like 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, because it's been discovered and crazy stuff, what do you honestly think would be your assessment mark, your feedback? Were you progressing at these skills? Or do you really think you mastered them? Then, and I think regardless of progressing or mastery, I'm going to give this worksheet to everyone next week. Based off what a lot of us had struggles with on this assessment, I am making, like still working on, a progressing to mastery, a separate worksheet. And this is to also prep you for how Mr. Hall does things in the revision cycle. Like as you go deeper into the year, the skills get harder. So I don't want you just fixing your mistakes. I want to make sure we can fix what we like messed up, but then show that we can actually do it again, like a fresh problem. Right? So this fixing a mistake, that's good. But then solving another problem like that, a fresh one, different numbers, that's better. Right? So T, did you get a test back? Or were you not here when we took this?
I wasn't here for it.
So when you come back from being absent, you got to make sure that you catch up on stuff. So there's that for you to follow along with us, just for right now. And then we need to chat later about the plan. You'll just probably just do the other worksheet, and that'll encompass this. I think that covers it, and I'll repeat that stuff at the end of class. 1 had a bunch of options. You could essentially draw that however you want, as long as you had the right amount of squares or boxes or whatever you showed. And you could honestly use stars or whatever you feel like. We're in here till 46, so somebody keep me honest with that. We got like 17 minutes. Yeah, this class will go really fast. Yeah. No, if you got it right, you're fine. Like nothing needs to go on your paper. So your graph paper that you have out right now should say like chapter 4/5 corrections or revisions or however you had that for you. So you're going to need to turn this all back in with whatever grade you give yourself. But then also, like, I'll have that separate worksheet. Now, whether or not you're required to do it, I'll talk to you guys about that next week. But I will have another worksheet so we can work on these skills. 2, I think the biggest thing that caught some of us was visualizing that this 3 on bottom stays. That 3 on bottom is there the whole time. And what that tells me is there's probably a +3 involved in my equation. Because the thing that is changing is how many of these sets we have. Right? In the first one, I have 1 set of 5. In the next one, I keep that and add another set of 5. In the next one, I keep both of those and add another set of 5. So what my equation becomes is probably something involving a 5x, right? Because I keep adding like 5 more every x that we step up. But man, is it 5x plus 3? Like, is that accurate? No. What does it become?
So
George?
you have to find the figure 0 first. So when you find the figure 0, I got -2 for the figure 0. So it would be 5x plus -2.
So if I step back, figure 1 only has those 3 on bottom, right? And this should really be blue. Because if I go backwards, the 5s get taken away. So I still have these 3 squares. But then if I go back to figure 0, where x disappears, and I take 5 away again, I'm actually like -2 blocks. So instead of an actual like +3, where we start is actually 2 below. So we end up with 5x minus 2. Then, for the 100th figure, just plug in 100. 500 minus 2, 498. Now, the other way we can do this is by manipulating the input. So we haven't practiced this together yet, but another way we could actually write this if we do 5 times x minus 1, this works. Because at figure 0, 5 times -1 is -5. Plus 3 is -2. This starts us at the right figure 0. I can also think of this. Figure 3, how many sets of 5 does it have? 2 of them. Figure 4, how many sets of 5? 3 of them. The amount of 5s that we have is x minus 1. I have 3 5s in 4. I have 2 5s in 3. I have 1 5 in 2. This is the same thing as this. It's legitimately the same thing if we do the multiplication and then combine like terms. That's also right. I don't think anybody did that, But like that's like beyond where we are right now. But that's another way we can represent this. In my head, that makes more sense because I get to use the plus 3. Right? In my brain, that makes more sense because we get to use the plus 3. And we get to just use the like 5 times x, whatever. Oh, sorry, I need to put the other thing up on the board. 3 is 10. We move on to 4. I moved it so we could fit on front back. So this should be up here. I think most of us got this right. The couple of us that got this wrong misinterpreted the question wrong, I believe. If this is an equation, and guys, some of us need to like write this out probably on our correction paper or somewhere because we don't quite remember this yet. This is what our y equals mx plus b equations are really telling us. Y equals m times x plus b is representing the growth that is happening and a start point. So when we're asked how much money did Hamal have when he started the job, $50. He already had, sorry, this is a B. He already had $50 in his account. How much is he making for every hour? $10. And guys, this makes sense. I'm not throwing you some problem where he's making like, peanuts an hour or something. Like, make some $10 an hour be a decent pay. Okay?
That says it's question 4.
I know. Yes. So sorry, you maybe weren't in here, weren't paying attention. I modify these tests even once I download them to squeeze it into a front back. That's why I had to like rearrange a couple questions. So that is question 3 on your test.
Yeah, that was here.
Yeah, that's question 3 on your test. And then this will be question 4 and question. They're all off by 1. Yeah. Sorry, I also made my grading kind of complicated, but I'm trying to save copies. Like, we have made too many copies this year. I'm trying to bring it back. I'm taking it on myself as a personal goal to try to rescue our copies. This was tough. Not gonna lie to you. This one was tough. Make it easier on yourself. Draw a picture. Lots of your school career, you're going to get yelled at for drawing pictures in class. But math, you should be drawing pictures. It's what makes your brain make sense. So, here's the problem. You have to tell your brain the picture isn't actually true. And here's what I mean. I'm going to draw an equilateral triangle and then lie to my brain. Or I read, no, we don't know that it's right either. I read the problem and I see I have a long side, a middle side, and a short side. So George is saying, well, in a right triangle, we have a short side, a longest side, and a medium side. Right? So I could draw something like, but either way, I don't know, like, a lot of details. Just draw a triangle. It doesn't matter. I could do an equilateral and just label things as I go. The longest side is 3 centimeters longer than twice the length of the shortest. So, okay, I'm going to label the shortest S for now. And I'll change that later if I need to. The third side is twice as long as the shortest side. Okay, they keep referencing the shortest side. They never tell me what the short side is. Make it S. Twice the short side, and then 3 centimeters more, and just twice the short side. Now, is this line actually twice as long as that line? No, but I don't care. I don't need it to be. All I needed was something so I could make sense of this problem. Then they tell me the perimeter is 88. Grab your like terms. Perimeter is all the way around. So grab like terms as I walk around the triangle. I'm going to grab my S's. 2S, another 2S, and another 1S. How many total S's? I'm going to grab my constants. Oh, none. Oh, none. Oh, there's 3. Okay. That's our equation that we build. 5S plus 3, the entire perimeter value, variables and constants, equals 88. Then we use inverse operations to solve, right? Take away 3 from both sides. And if you got to the equation, I think most of us solved it all right. And we get 5s is equal to 85. What do we do now?
You divide by 5.
Divide, right, to undo that multiplication. And this is why I kind of don't like s. It kind of looks like my 5. Sky, nice. What are you doing? Don't leave. I got something for you, and then you can go to your next class. Here, we can talk about this later, but I gave everyone those back today just so you can see the feedback. Check in with me later, and I'll catch you up. You're very welcome.
Why don't you make it a Z?
You can make it whatever you want. I just said s first, and I'm trying to go fast, so you can make it whatever variable you want. You could make it like f or k or whatever you want. I just did s for short side, and then bless you, I try to be careful. Now, the next couple, some of us are going to have really big facepalm moments. I like you're saying yeah, and you don't even know why yet.
No, I will. Either way, I'll
Some of you made this way too hard.
The first time I did it, I remembered it, and the second time I forgot.
I'm going to make a different problem for a moment. Half of x plus a 4 equals 1. Now, this actually doesn't come out to be that like pretty of an ending. Well, it's not hard. But first thing I want to do is isolate the thing with the x. So get rid of anything else. How do I get rid of a plus 1/4? Minus it, right? Take it away. So if I take away a 4th from over here, well, I know how many 4ths are in 1. We had a homework making us like do a bunch of giant ones. This is really 4/4, right? So take away the 1/4. I then get a half of x is 3/4. Now here's the part that most of us forgot from when we did it in class. What do I do to a fraction to turn it into 1? And this has been in our homework literally last night. Mallory? Reciprocal multiplication. Wipe out becomes 1x. Hey, look how nice this is. Becomes 6/4. That's it. A lot of you probably spent 10 or 20 minutes like fighting with this. A couple of you made it decimals. Gross! 1/3 into a decimal? That's gross. Don't convert that. Keep it as a fraction. So we're going to go solve your problem, right? I just wanted to review what we're doing, and like, it's not hard. You just forgot how to do it. And that's okay. Like, don't feel bad. You just forgot how to do it. You need practice. I'm trying to get you guys to realize, those of you that struggled on this test, I bet if you're honest with yourself, you don't actually put that much attention into your practice. You might do it. You might do it when it's like assigned, but if you are struggling right now, I bet we can trace it back to some of your practice work. What's up, Mrs. Bouldering? How many thirds are in 1? 3/3, right? That just makes sense. We got to fill the whole thing. So if we take away 1/3, we end up with 2/3. I don't even really have to like write this out as 3/3. I can just do that in my head. And if you got this wrong, please make sure you're writing down the corrections right now. What do I do to 3/5 to turn it into 1? Yeah, flip it and multiply. So if I multiply by the reciprocal, I'd get 15 over 15. I got to come over and multiply by the reciprocal. And x, this is why we love fractions. I just multiply straight through the top. 10 on top, 9 on bottom. You can leave it like that. I didn't tell you you had to make it a mixed number, a decimal, or anything else. Now, if you want to make it a decimal, it does become 1.1 repeating, right? Because this is 1 and 1/9. So it becomes that 1.1 repeating. And guys, that, and it had the check and everything in your test, that was guiding you to do well on number 6, which on here says 7. But on number 6, same skill set.
I don't know what that
Easy's relative. You can say easier. But be careful, easy's relative. And again, a test strategy, if you can't do it, skip it, come back. Because in 7, all you have is 2/7 times x equals 4. Rack your brain, right? How do I get rid of 2/7? How do I turn it into 1? How do I deal with like reciprocal multiplication? And I told you, like, we took multiple days on this. If you don't remember how to do it, go home and Google it. I don't care. Like, that's okay. Calc 3 in college. I Googled a lot of things. It's okay. But you got to learn it, right? If you don't know how to do it, you got to figure out how to get there. And if you don't use Google, use like Purple Math or Khan Academy, or like, I can give you the good websites to go to. You just got to be able to put in the effort. So we multiply by 7 over 2. Make that a fraction. Make your life easy. What's 7 times 4? 20.
28.
28. Then over 2, if I solve this, 14. Only difference over here, I got to get rid of this 2 first. So I subtract 2, then I triple both sides. Questions? Now, 8 was even more difficult, and maybe I shouldn't have put, well, 7, sorry. But what says 8 up here, maybe this was a little bit beyond for us right now. Don't riot, like, I get that, and that's also why I'm having you guys, like, self-grade. Do B. I'm quickly gonna do A. You guys are screwing up my brain. Hold on, just a moment. I promise I'll be fast. Now, here's the deal. When it says solve the equations for y, that doesn't mean find the value of y. It doesn't mean find a number. It doesn't mean that you can do all of this. It just means do what you can. I want to get y by itself. What do I need to get rid of? The 3x. So I subtract 3x from both sides, and then I'm done. Y equals 5x minus 7. Done. Don't force any. I can't do anything else. These are non-like terms. I'm done. B takes it a step further and says, here's some math to do on the right side before you can do the rest of everything. And this is recording, so if you want to go back and like watch this again, you can, because I know we're going fast. Can I distribute multiplication? Yes, always. Because multiplication doesn't care about like terms. Nothing happens over here. Do not do a bunch at the same time. You're going to make mistakes. So nothing happens left side. I do this multiplication, get negative 6. Careful. Negative 3 times negative y, positive 3y. Now, this is why it's really hard. Like, I'm being honest. This is really hard. You have 4 correct options. There are also either 8 or 16 wrong options, right? So you have 4 things you could do that are all right, and then a bunch that are not. I could add 6x to move this over here. I could minus 5y to move this over here. But so I want y, right? So I focus in on the y's for a moment. I got 5y here, 3y here. I like easier. It's not right or wrong, but easier strategy. Get rid of the smaller y. Get rid of the thing closer to 0. So if I just do that, negative 6x, 2y, and just negative 6. Again, I want y by itself, so kind of focus in on that side. What do I need to get rid of? Octavia? How do I do that? I want to get rid of the whole thing, not just the 6. Right, so like Octavia said, add 6x to make that term 0. But over here, and a couple people got stuck because they thought that you couldn't do this. Well, you're right, you can't. But then you just write negative 6 plus 6x. So we'll finish this one, and then that'll be everything we have time for today. Negative 6 plus 6x. What's the last thing I do to finish? Divide by 2 to everything. So y becomes negative 3 plus 3x. And you could turn those around. You could write it 3x minus 3 if you want. Order doesn't really matter as long as you write it appropriately. Here's the deal. Over the weekend, if you need to finish this, you need to finish this. If you want to start correcting, that's fine. But, hey, I need you to hear me when I say this. Nothing else gets written on the old papers. Okay, that's way too confusing for me. Everything you do, like did today and here out, needs to be on new paper. Okay, because otherwise I think you already did that and I already graded it. Right, I'm not going to regrade your old papers. So new paper, all that work goes on. I will collect those back on Monday.
Okay.
Otherwise, just hang on to it because we're way out of time.
I think I got it on this. I don't know.
Yeah, you did.
You switched the, that was actually A and that was actually
No,
B.
I'm thinking. No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not.
you definitely.
That was, yeah, at first I was like, these are wrong, and I was like, wait a minute, he just switched them.
I think
Well, we'll talk about it on Monday. Like, don't freak yourself out, but whatever you can get done over the weekend, try to get done.
I already have.